Hello, everyone, and welcome to our week in review for Module 1 HCA 424 Healthcare Administration Capstone. My name is Chris Gibbons. I will be your instructor this spring for your Capstone course, and it is an honor to be your final instructor in the program. I always enjoy doing Capstone. It is kind of a wonderful experience for you guys to showcase what you've learned throughout the program and put a summation on all that you've done. I know that it has been very difficult to complete a program like this. I've done it myself, and I know it meant a lot of long hours working on the laptop in difficult conditions sometimes, where you're trying to balance work, life, family situations going on. It is truly a testament to your ability that you have completed the program. So please take some time to celebrate that. And I really hope that all of you will be coming to commencement, which I'll talk about in just a few moments. That's the graduation ceremony here at Mercy College to celebrate those achievements. It's a kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing that you have available to you, and you can't repeat it if you decide to skip our commencement ceremony. So again, do take this time over the next 8 weeks and somewhat celebrate your success, and especially afterwards to recognize all that you've done to complete a very difficult program like this. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing this week and talk a little bit about the course as well. So you'll notice right off the bat, many of you texted me, emailed me, wanted to make sure there was no textbook required for the course. No textbook required for the course. We will be introducing a few new information that you'll be looking at, and you'll be doing these informational summaries. As I look at our schedule here, you'll have a few of those, what I call knowledge summaries, throughout the next 8 weeks, or really 7, which we'll talk about here in just a moment as well. Also, you have these mini case studies. Now, the case studies are to focus on various areas that you've had within the program. Now, many of you may not still have the textbooks for those courses. That's okay. But all of you know how to do research at this point, so you should be able to answer some of those case studies with the information, with a little bit of recall from what you've learned over the past few years for many of you as you've gone through the program. The Capstone is not meant to be an arduous experience. It's really your victory lap. So hopefully this is not too difficult for you. Some of you are still completing other courses to meet your graduation requirements. So this course, again, should not be that difficult in that we aren't doing quizzes. We are having heavy reading assignments. So again, really meant to be a summation of the information that you've already learned throughout the program. Now, one of the things that we're doing coming up very soon, if you look at the syllabus, so in Module 2, you're going to have a MoveNote presentation. You're going to have 2 MoveNote presentations. One, it'll be due in Module 2, so the end of next week, and the other one will have coming due in looking at, Module 5 will have the other MoveNote that will be due. And that'll be a healthcare career report. The first one is a leadership presentation. Now, within the course, and we'll jump in here in just a moment, within the course, you'll find some information about how to approach that leadership presentation. What I would encourage you to do, though, is also look at the bigger presentation, which will be that healthcare career report. And let me just speak a few moments on that healthcare career report. What I want you to do with that one is pick a career within healthcare. It can be anything. I give you some ideas within the module on where to look. That's not the inclusive list. There's a lot of other areas. But pick a career that you might be interested in. And what I want you to do is basically an analysis on that career, not necessarily the industry. So let's say you, I was talking to a student this morning. Let's say you pick mental health and maybe administrator within a mental health facility. You want to look at that specific job. Now, you part of that job would be looking at the overall career or industry profile. Is that particular segment of healthcare growing? Is it contracting? If it's contracting, that could impact that particular job that you're looking at within that industry. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you pick a career and you find out that, well, they are kind of contracting a little bit, there doesn't seem to be as many opportunities, that's fine. We want to know that information because you're going to present that to the class. That's something that we want to know. With any career that you choose, I recommend that you do a little bit of due diligence. What are the avenues of employment? What are the educational thresholds? Do I need to get my master's? Do I need to get my master's right away, or do I get my foot in the door and then work on my master's in a few years? What are the income? Many of us that are drawn to healthcare aren't really drawn to it because of the money. Of course, we've got bills to pay and mortgages and kids to put through school just like everybody else. But the pay generally isn't the biggest reward for us. It's for many of us, it's the ability to help others, even in an administrative role, which is actually very huge because none of this exists without the administrators. Doctors do not come to work for free. Nurses don't volunteer their services. They do in some cases for short periods of time, but they've got bills to pay as well. Buildings do not get built. Medical equipment does not get purchased without administrators. So administrators are actually the glue that holds the entire healthcare system together. So they're a very, very important part of it. Just as important as the frontline providers. So don't let anybody tell you different, because you're just as important as that frontline provider. But we're drawn to it for that, being part of patient care, being part of improving the lives of others. Some areas do get paid very well, but in general, pay is not the large motivator for most of us. But that's something to know when you're looking at a career path. What's the pay looking like? Does it progressively grow? So that's really what you want to do with the healthcare career report, which will be due in Module 5, is focus on a career, do a SWOT analysis on that career itself. Again, the industry might be part of that, obviously, but don't focus on a traditional industry SWOT analysis, which I have had students in the past who have done that, and they really didn't address a specific career. Our ultimate goal at the end of this is to have these career presentations and for us to learn a little something new about areas we've never heard about. I always find these new areas, it's interesting. Students will pick these things I've never heard of before, and it's always a learning experience for all of us as we kind of open up our horizon to the different job opportunities that are available to a healthcare administration graduate. It's not just working in a hospital, though that may be part of it for some of you. There are so many other areas within that landscape of healthcare that you may find yourself working. Okay, so there's a little bit on the MoveNote presentations. Let's jump into the course real quick and look at the first one that will be due in Module 2, and that will be the leadership presentation. So within the content area, you can click on the we have the course resources, and right here we've got, under this little picture of these people, we've got major projects, leadership, and career report. You can click on that. And right now, sorry, I am in my instructor view here, so we will scroll down to the bottom. Let me shrink this down a little bit. My view is a little bit different than the student view. So, but you'll have these links down here to the various assignments. So the first one will be our leadership presentation. You click on that. This will give you some details about the assignment. And let me again, we'll open this up to fit my capture window. All right, that looks good. Now, these are just some suggested topics which I think would require minimal research. You should be able to find plenty of information on these leadership topics here. Character values, leadership development, motivation, process improvement, without a lot of work. So that was my intent. Now, by all means, you're not limited to these leadership topics. If you have another topic that you would like, please feel free just to send me a quick note. Hey, Chris, I want to do this particular, leadership topic, and most likely I will approve it. Again, this is meant to be rather an easy assignment for research. What I hope with this leadership presentation is that we get to learn a little bit more about leadership styles, leadership theory, which we didn't get a lot of in the program. Also, get you used to MoveNote. Now, many of you by this time have used MoveNote throughout various courses here, but some of you may never have had MoveNote at this point, but I want you to get used to that presentation style because you'll be doing your final report, that career report that I was just talking about, in a MoveNote, and it's worth a lot more points. And I want to make sure that you feel comfortable, feel polished, that you're not having any issues with the technology. So that's another reason to get you used to MoveNote. Again, making sure that you're okay with the presentation style, and for us to learn something interesting as well as you're going through that. So there is that in there. So please take a look at that, and I would recommend starting to work this week so you're not not behind the 8 ball when it is due. And also, again, for that career health, the healthcare career report, you'll have some information in here. Now, I've got some categories, and when you look at the categories, let me get my picture off of here. When you look at the categories, you have, again, just my list, and I always change it as I learn of new things. But so let's just sticking with the mental health that I talked about earlier. So you have mental health organizations, and then within that category, there's all these subcategories. So, I mean, within a mental health organization, there is a finance department, there is a marketing, there's medical staff, there's nursing administration, patient care services. So each one of these has subcategories. So there's probably, just trying to do ballpark math, probably about 150 different areas right there when you multiply the two together, and that's not an inclusive list. So if you find something that, hey, there's a job that I've always wanted, and this would be a great time for me to research it, but it's not on Chris's list, don't worry. Please go for it. Again, as long as it's related to the landscape, and that's a pretty broad landscape of healthcare, you'll be good with it. If you have any questions, though, if you think it may not count, just send me a quick text message or an email, and I'd be happy to take a look at it and make sure that it works. Okay. So that kind of concludes a little bit talking about the major projects for the course. The last thing I wanted to talk about is we have the one-on-one or the project conferences that I like to do with students, basically the student conference that I do in most of my courses, where many of you have already scheduled, and I've already had some of them this morning, which is great, but you'll use my scheduler and you'll schedule that brief conference. Again, we'll touch base on these MoveNotes real quick, or any other questions that you have with this course, and maybe even with graduation or commencement. So please go in there and make sure you are scheduling that appointment. I like to get those all done. We've got a group of about 10 of you in the class, so I think we should be able to get those all done within the next week, and get that assignment out of the way, and for us to connect on the phone, which is great. I always love talking to students and kind of hearing about what's going on with them, and if they have any questions with the course. Okay, so we've got that, and then lastly, as I'm looking at my list here, I wanted to talk a little bit about again, commencement. Commencement, that's the name for the ceremony where you walk down the stage and you get your diploma. That's called commencement. Graduation means that you've just completed the graduation requirements, but a lot of time we use the two words together, but they actually are two separate events. They often coincide at the same time, but everybody graduates, but not everybody goes to commencement. So now, commencement this year is happening a little bit earlier than previous years due to the venue that we had to choose and the limited times offered. What that means for you is that the course is actually going to end quicker than normal. We have basically 7 weeks instead of 8. We have to have everything done by April 28th, which is Thursday. So Thursday at midnight, April 28th, we need to be done with the course. I need to come in early on Friday morning, grade it, and it's got to be completely graded by Friday at 9 a.m. If it's not in there by Friday morning when I get here, I cannot grade it. So everything of this course has to be done by Friday. They calculate your grades, and then you participate in commencement ceremony on Sunday. So they have a limited time in which to calculate things and get everything printed out and grades calculated and all that stuff, and making sure that folks actually have passed all their various courses that they need to do to graduate. So there is that deadline. Now, as I'm looking at the syllabus here, it should not be a problem. Week 7 and week 8 are very light, and we're just going to combine those two together. So, at best, that might be about 2 hours worth of work. We've got peer evaluations, which you'll be doing on those peer evaluations are on those healthcare career reports that you'll be watching on MoveNote. Again, we have a relatively small group, so there won't be a lot of those. And a discussion that we'll be doing, and a reflection paper. So again, probably maybe 2 hours worth of work, maybe 3 max. So I think we'll be fine, and you should not feel pressured as far as finishing a tremendous amount of work in 7 weeks. Now, with your other courses, keep in mind, for all of you that are graduating, and there might be 1 or 2 of you that are taking this course 1 semester early, but if you are actually graduating, you're totally done this spring, and you finished all your graduation requirements. All of your other courses, if you're taking any other courses, your instructor should be talking to you about that accelerated date, because you have to be done. If you're taking another course, you have to be done by that April 28th. So please, if the instructor hasn't reached out to you by this week, reach out to them. Let them know that you are a graduating senior. You're graduating this spring, and that Chris told you had to be done by the 28th. Now, those instructors might actually have you finish even earlier to allow for grading or whatever they have to do. For this course, it's my choice that I'm going to the very, very bitter end, because the grading that you have to submit in the final 2 weeks is relatively minimal. We have a small number. If we had 30 students in this course, I would have to push that back. I can get in here Monday morning early or Friday morning early, and I can grade everything by the 9 a.m. That won't be a problem for me. But they may even have an earlier date, I guess is what I'm saying. So please contact your other instructors and let them identify yourself as a graduating senior, and that you heard that you have to have things in earlier. All right, that pretty much concludes everything. Sorry for the week in review being a little long. Wanted to touch base on some of these course things that we are doing. Normally the week in reviews will only run about 7 to 10 minutes at max. So again, it's my pleasure to be in this course with you in your final course. It's always an honor to run Capstone. If you have any questions, you know that or please do know that I prefer text messaging. Text me if you have any questions. I can usually get back to you within minutes rather than days. We still have Virtual Office, but Virtual Office, you're looking at about a 24-hour response time versus 24 minutes or less if you text me. So please do text me. My information for texting is in the course syllabus. All right, well, that concludes the week in review for our very first Module 1, and as always, thank you for watching.